Honey, come look at this. They think it's a toy. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, my kids!
So at this point of the show, we're dealing with a lot of different folks who've been through traumatic experiences and come out the other side victoriously. My total goal here is to bring you into a situation where you're both understanding that life is a journey that you have to conquer, that you have to overcome. These folks that I'm interviewing have done that and gone on to live vibrant lives. You who are sitting there with all your complex array of emotional problems, just get on with life, function, work, correspond to others. And throughout the show, throughout this program, we're going to have a phone number that you can call for counseling. And all the individuals that have been on the show, except for the young fellow, Kelley, who's 17, have volunteered to converse with you and appropriately. If you need some guidance or counseling and direction, encouragement, I find them very giving and generous in their attitudes. It's amazing. So you will see the phone number, and you'll be directed to counselors, and of course you'll see their names and understand that they are available to talk to you. And if you call, you have to have real questions. And I believe we have solutions to the issues that are facing folks that have gone through amputeeism. So I am honored and privileged to be a part of this program. I've been doing TV shows for almost 11 years now, and this is definitely the culmination of one of my projects. I'm on 4 stations in California with a show called Mutant Farm. I'm also working on music, as is Bill Copeland, who is a great musician and artist as well. So this community topic program is dedicated to those who are either going through amputeeism or limb loss, or even emotional problems, and are sitting around having pity parties when you look at these folks with difficult circumstances that they've overcome and gone on. It's all about living. It's not about crying. It's about living. It's not about whining. It's about living. It's about continuing beyond your obstacles. Sometimes those obstacles are a blessing. The Bible says we'll go through trial and tribulation, and we do. Each and every one of us is going to have our own sort of group of problems. We're all breathing air together. There's, one God, one breath, and one hope. And whether you know Him as your personal Savior or not, God loves you and has a plan. And there is a destiny for everyone. I mean, you just have to find the place that you were supposed to be, or create a place where you're supposed to be. Some people start their own businesses with a concept. Life is a journey.
whether somebody is missing a limb or missing something else, somebody's got a limp, somebody's got a scar, somebody's got a something. Everybody's got a something. Everybody has a story, and you can't let life get you down. It's a thing of, you can either let life run you, or you can get up and run your own life.
When I was about 5 years old, it was in October, and I was mowing the lawn with my father, and he had one too many beers, and he had hit a rock while mowing the lawn, and it juggled the lawnmower, and I fell off.
The main mission of this show is to encourage people that are in wheelchairs that aren't getting help, primarily because they don't have the right counsel. Are you willing to be available as counsel?
Always.
You know,
yes,
every single person that I've had on this program has been willing to share their time and energy with someone that's in need.
Yes.
And that's one thing I found to be kind of a common denominator throughout all of the different interviews. So what would you say to someone who's sitting in a wheelchair, above knee, which is the most difficult part?
Correct, yes.
And yet there is the prospect of walking. What would you say to them?
I would say get up.
Yeah.
I mean, very simply, get up. I think everyone has things in life that overwhelm them, or everybody has some issue or some ailment or something. I'm often a people watcher, and I sit in malls when you're tired, or I just like to sit and watch people. And whether somebody is missing a limb or missing something else, somebody's got a limp, somebody's got a scar, somebody's got a something. Everybody's got a something. Everybody has a story, and you can't let life get you down. It's a thing of, you can either let life run you, or you can get up and run your own life. And
I like that.
It might not be.
What was that statement again? Wait, one more time.
You can let life run you, or you can get up and run your own life.
That is awesome. That is an incredibly amazing statement. That is so incredible. Yes, our destiny is mostly our decision.
Yes, yeah.
And our attitude is totally our decision.
I think attitude is probably 99.99% of life. Like I said, everybody has bad things happen to them, but I mean, you're the only one missing out by sitting in a wheelchair or not getting up and doing something. You can enjoy life. Even if you had to stay in a wheelchair, or even, any kind of thing, there are so many things out there that can aid you and help you. But I see so many people that I see in a wheelchair, and they're very capable, and their legs are probably amputated at the same spot mine is. And I go up and ask them, I'm like, why are you sitting in that wheelchair when you could be doing so much more? Yes, there are issues. Yes, you get sores and you get blisters and you get all of that, but there's maintenance to all that and that type of thing. It's no different than anything else we do. You get blisters running 5 miles if somebody had 2 good feet, So there are things that a lot of it's just all in your attitude. You should get out, and if you're worried about what somebody says, quit worrying about what somebody says. It's all about your attitude. It's all about what you want out of life, and you're the only one holding yourself back. So
I think we should bottle your attitude and sell it at the store. I think we get billions and trillions of dollars. I mean, everybody's looking for hope right now.
Yes.
In a world that seems to be very difficult.
Yes.
And, there is hope if you choose it.
Correct. Yes. I mean, and there are, there's obstacles, there's money, there's whatever, but if you search high enough, there's always funding, there's always payment plans, there's always whatever. It's like somebody that, why would you, if you can't hear, why would you not go get a hearing aid? If you can't, if you needed, any kind of brace or something like that, you would automatically go get it. If you can't see, you go get glasses. If you can't walk, go get a leg and get up and go do something. It's as simple as that. There's a lot of steps in between, but it's your desire and wanting to get out and do something. I can't imagine not being able to get around or move or do what I want to do. And I would figure out any way that I could in order to make that happen.
I haven't been trying to get involved in this and being very objective in this whole scenario, and I've done quite a few interviews now. So I consider myself a little bit seasoned in it, but it certainly is a very difficult, scenario for me to deal with emotionally, because I'm a very emotional person. So I've been having to contend with it and conceptualize it in my mind. But the one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people build their own walls and their own barriers. I think there was an experiment where fish would hit glass, and then after they, was in their tank, and they would go to a certain distance, but after the glass was removed, they wouldn't go any further.
Yes.
So they couldn't perceive themselves going any further beyond this glass in the fish tank. So really, the main thing is you have to conceive of this occurring before it will occur. And a lot of it has to do with mental barriers, mental walls, not physical at all.
Correct.
And that's why you and several of the other folks that have been on the show are offering your time and energy to counsel, to help people that are dealing with the mental problem.
Yes.
Get over the mental problem and get on with your life. So I've learned a lot about that. And the other thing that I've really gained from this program and from these interviews is that if you go to the wrong prosthetist,
correct,
you're probably just going to get some generic brand that does not really work. And the key to this is finding an artist, someone who is going to devise an absolutely for you prosthetic limb that will work for you, individualized.
Correct.
That is the key.
Yes,
the interface is everything.
Correct.
If you don't have a good interface, you're probably not going to use your prosthetic.
Correct.
But if you have a good interface and you have something that's comfortable and something that works for you, and there's only a few in the world that really know how to do this. So, find the ones that are the best. And of course, I'm sure you did some searching in that, didn't you?
Well, I was very lucky. When I actually lost my leg, there was an option of two people that I could have chosen at Shands, and that's actually where I had my surgery, and they did a great job. I think at the time, Dr. Bright actually did some new surgery where my incision healed from the inside out. And so at that time, even from the first day, the guy the first prostheticist that I found actually had a prosthesis himself. And so I look back on it now and realize how lucky I was of him being able to understand and to be able to talk to me about what I'm dealing with, because he had one himself. And I think that's very important. I'm not saying that somebody who doesn't is not just as capable, but in my experience, I've lucked out and I've been very fortunate to have somebody. So John unfortunately passed away earlier, I don't know, probably like when I was 15 or so, 16, something of that nature. And then I searched. I think my first year in college I had, because of insurance and all the issues that go with that, I was in college at Florida Institute of Technology, and I had to get a leg made in that particular area in order for insurance to cover it. So I had to go to somebody that I wasn't comfortable with, and he didn't have an artificial leg. And we got through that process, but I swore at that point I would never go do someone like that again, because they were very patronizing. They were very, you don't really know what you're talking about. I want to tell you, when I'm very sensitive as far as in the whole process of how you adjust legs and that type of thing. I can tell you if you scratch the bottom of my foot, I can tell you where you scratched it, even though I don't have a foot. It's from vibrations and things, and the way that you balance before you ever get to the point of actually finishing the leg. And so we got through the process and it was okay, but I didn't like to be patronized. And so I searched at that point for someone who I felt was educated enough, who possibly had an artificial leg himself, and I came across Bill Copeland. And I have followed him from several places that he's actually worked and started his own business, and will continue to follow him up until he probably chooses not to do this anymore, which I hope will never be, or at least while I'm alive. So it does make a difference.
Pray that he stays alive.
Yes, definitely.
There we
And in
go.
this job. Yes, exactly. So he's done amazing work, and I will say I'm sure he loves and doesn't love for me to actually get to the point where I need to have a leg made, because I am very picky. I have high standards, and if you're going to have one, then I want it to look as close to my other leg as possible. And we painstakingly go through the process where we stand in front of a mirror and he carves out the niches in my foot and in the back of my heel and all of that. He matches the skin tone on my leg to match, my other skin and that type of thing. Most people, when I walk, other than the actual stump sock that I have, they think I have a brace on my knee. They don't realize I have an artificial leg because it looks so much like my real leg.
Like John, who passed away,
Yes.
who was a good prosthetist. Prosthetist.
Yes, prosthetist.
We gotta get those words out.
Those are hard to say.
Prosthetist, prosthesis, prostheses. I'm back to square one again with those folks. Just pray for me that I can learn how to speak English. It does make a difference who the technician is, and if you're being processed through, let's say, a facility, and they really don't understand you, and they just say, "Here, take this. We want you to use this." They don't understand balance. They don't understand movement. They don't understand all of these things. I really feel like my show, Community Topics, is a community service because I am helping the folks that are watching the program that are sitting in wheelchairs and can't even get up to the sink to cook or make food or walk the dog. How about that one? I can't even, those type of things are now able to be conquered utilizing good technology, using good advice, good therapy that really, really, really works.
Yes.
And helps people. And I feel it was miraculous that I got aligned with Bill, and he's just an amazing person, great musician as well.
Yes, he is.
And I've had an incredible opportunity to invite folks to get counsel for their problem, their situation, so that they can go on with life. And that's what the whole mission of this program is to invite people to change their lives, for their future, for their family.
Yeah.
Don't you think the family would like to have them walking with them in the park and walking at the beach?
Yeah.
I mean, you have no problem walking in the park or the beach.
No, absolutely not.
So, and you're very, very busy.
Yes.
You're working very hard. You're all over the place.
Yes.
So, and you're working probably harder than a lot of people.
Yes.
And you're not complaining either.
No.
So, and then that doesn't have very much room in this scenario. I call it the whiners or the shiners.
Yes.
You want to be a whiner? Go away. You want to be a shiner? Shine bright.
Yeah. I've always said, I've never seen having an artificial leg as my problem. If anybody has a problem with it, it's their problem. It's not can't tell anyone enough to get up and enjoy life. There are so many things that you can do, and so many things, you might have to do it a teensy bit slower. You might have to do it, a slightly different way, but life's not over. You only define or stop yourself because of what you choose to do or not to do. It's nobody else's issue. Nobody else can make you get out of the chair. You're the only one that can get out of the chair. But know that there's plenty of us that are out of the chair and don't want to ever be in a chair. And if I have that option, I will do everything that I can not to be there. And if that means, physical activity, if that means you have to strengthen one leg versus the other, and of course your body will compensate for that. There will be days where your leg hurts, or you can't run as much, or you can't walk as much, or whatever, but it's one of those things that the more you do, the more you try, and you know what your limitations are, and you know that you're going to get a blister, not to use a certain kind of lotion because your leg's going to slide off, when you get hot, and it's just things that you learn. But I've never had and like I said, I've been fortunate to have a family that's never allowed me any sympathy, so to speak, of if I wanted something, get up and get it. It's not, I'll bring it to you, I can't, that type of thing. They've always supported me, and I've never had a problem. I've always wanted to get out and do and be better than everybody else, not use it so-called as a handicap.
What do you consider the funniest thing that ever happened to you as far as someone else reacting?
I don't know. I've had funny things throughout the years. I remember when I first started kindergarten, and at the time the leg that I had was held on with a leather strap, and it had copper rivets in it. And of course I'm very active, so I'm very hard on my legs, and I remember running across the playground field, and all of a sudden the rivets in my leg popped off, and my leg went one way and I went another, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, that type of thing. That's a funny thing, I guess, that I always remember. There's always I guess instances, where people, like I said, don't know that my leg's artificial or that type of thing, or will sometimes play jokes. I do remember I have extra legs. I have an artificial leg that I can wear high heels. I have an old artificial leg that I've made. Okay. So I have an artificial leg for high heels. I have another artificial leg that has a different kind of suction mechanism that I like, and then I also have an old leg that I turned into like a water leg, and I'm actually able to walk into the water because the older I'm getting and the more out of shape I'm getting, it's not as easy to hop over the waves as it used to be when I was, say, 15. So. I have multiple ones, and I know I've had extra ones in the car, and so it's always interesting to see people's reactions when they walk by the car and somebody's leg sitting there. Or I actually scared a colleague of mine that I was unloading my trunk in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden he sees a leg sitting there and he jumped back, and of course that's a story that we laugh about throughout the years and different things like that. So there is funny stories that come out of it, that type of thing. You have to joke and make light of situations or whatever in order to, it is kind of funny, you know what I'm saying? Or somebody makes the comment of that you eat so much you must have a hollow leg, and then sometimes we laugh like, yeah, I actually do have one of those. So, those type of things, I guess, becomes funny after a while, you know what I mean? So you just have to, nobody's allowed to make fun of me, but they can have fun with me, and that's different.
Good.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
so,
good. Now, I didn't, the question I had, I was trying to envision the going to the beach. Mm-hmm. Do you actually go in the water with the leg?
Yes. And that's why I said I've used an older one that, is still, usable and not worn out, because like every 2 or 3 years the skin will deteriorate and that type of thing, and so that's why I'll end up getting a new one more for appearance version, and so I'll actually use that one to actually go to the beach, and so
You mean the skin on the outside of the prosthetic?
Yeah, the skin on the outside, correct.
Okay,
yes.
we don't want to,
Yeah, not my inside skin. No.
Okay, all right.
It's just it starts to look old, and I don't like it.
Your skin looks pretty good for 44. All right.
So yes, I take it to the beach and I walk, and it'll fill up with water and that type of thing, and it actually floats, and that's another funny thing. So I always say that if you ever see a leg floating, please come and get me, because I'm on the other side of that underneath the water. So, but it enables at least me to walk out there as opposed to trying to maintain my balance and that type of thing while you got waves going and you're trying to stay steady, and whatever is not the easiest thing, but it is possible. So I have probably in the last few years actually started using one of my older legs that I had actually to walk into the water, which is good. So.
Okay, all right. And I understand, of course, folks are invited to go skiing.
Yes.
And other activities.
I have snow skied once or twice.
Okay.
Yes, it was
Okay.
interesting.
All right. Anything else you want to tell us about as far as activities?
I just don't think there's anything that you couldn't do. So, like I said, there's nothing that holds me back. And if there is something that I want to do that I feel like my leg maybe, then it's finding another type of leg that could possibly help me with that, whether it was swimming or because I know other people have particular swim legs that have like fins on the bottom of them and that type of thing. I'm financially not in a position to have some of those extra things or funding for those kind of things. So but I think the ones that I do have are great. I think one of the biggest things I think was a major step for me as a girl. When you're growing up, you've always wanted to wear high heels, and that was always something I was never able to do when I was growing up, because your foot is made for a 3/8 inch heel, or you have to have it specifically made, for a high heel. And so I think it was probably like when I was 18 or 20, I actually had a leg specifically made for high heels. And for a girl, and I know most girls who are able to wear high heels are like, oh my gosh, I would never wear those because they hurt your feet. And yes, they do, but certain outfits only, look good with certain shoes. And so I guess it changed and opened up my world a little bit more as to things that I would like to wear, and whatever the fact that I can wear high heels. So that was a big thing for me, So not that wearing flats, there's nothing wrong with that, and I wear them all the time to work or whatever, but sometimes it's one of those things that just because you can't do it, it's one of those things that you want to do. And because I had never been able to at that point, so being able and finding a leg that was able specifically made to wear high heel shoes was very exciting for me.
So we're, as a final statement here today, and we're talking again, we're making a call to the folks that are sitting in wheelchairs or know people that have come back from the war that have not really gotten up and aren't moving around because of the restrictions of whatever it is they're using as a prosthetic. We're making a call to those folks to, there'll be a counseling line, and they can get help. And everybody that's been on this program has volunteered to say, I will be there if you need me to talk to a real person that has gone through it and come out the other side of winning, victor. So I'll just basically leave it open for you to talk to those folks.
I would say that everybody needs to realize that God has a plan, and I don't think what has happened to you is something bad. I think you need to look at it as something good, and that you have a purpose, whether it's to share or talk to someone else, or it's something that you need to get up and do, something that maybe you are the inspiration for someone else that is having a hard time, that you maybe didn't realize it, that you need to get out of the wheelchair. You need to take life by the horns and do what you want to do with it. Don't let someone else decide what you can and cannot do.
Yes.
That's only in your world.
That's right. That's right.
There is nothing that you cannot do in this world. It's a matter of you wanting to do it, and there are people that are out there willing to help you and support you and to love you, and you are the only limitation that you have. Very simply.
The doors you go through are the ones you choose to go through.
Correct.
But you have to go through them.
Everybody has a challenge in life. Everybody has a problem. But it's all in how you deal with it. It's all in how you choose to get out of bed and say, today is my day, and I'm taking it to do what I want to do. And you can let life get you down, and you can let life run you, or like we said before, or you can get up and choose to run your own life.
Yes. Wow, that's amazing. And that is so dynamic. It is amazing. I am getting goosebumps over here on the other side of the camera from this. Folks, I hope you're encouraged. I hope you will, and here I am, whoops. I hope you will take the call. I hope you will respond to this program and talk to a counselor and get some help, because we're here to help you.
Yes.
I've always set a goal in my life to help people. That's been my goal in my life. While I'm breathing air, while I'm spending the gift of life that God gave me, I do want to spend my life helping other people. And walking is very, very important. You know, so the gift of walking is yours. You just have to reach out, get plugged into the right place, go through the process of communicating, and we're here to help you in any way we can. So I hope you enjoyed this portion of the show.
Unrehearsed, this is off script. This is about a convention you went to?
Yes.
Okay.
Amputees there is the amputee convention that I believe is held once a year in various parts of the world. And one year it happened to be held in Orlando, and that was the first one that I had ever went to. And I really can't say that I have too many friends that have artificial legs themselves, so I've always been the unique one in the crowd, so to speak. So it was interesting to go to the convention and be around thousands of people that were like me. And it was humbling, and it was interesting and exciting because, one, you're not alone. Two, there are people worse off than you, so you need to, if you're ever feeling sorry for yourself one day, you need to get over yourself and realize there's always somebody else that's having a worse time than you. And they may have every limb that they're supposed to have, and they're still having a worse time than you. So you always put that in perspective. But it was interesting to see all of the options and the providers that are out there for us that we may not be exposed to. So it was just like going to a home show for, the house. It had, different types of companies that provide different feet, different, prosthetic attachments or limbs that you could use. It had a gait analysis seminar, so you had doctors there that would show you how, if you had problems running, how to keep your stance and your posture and that type of thing. So it was very educational. It was fun. They actually had a costume party that night. I think it was a pirate-related party, so there was a lot of people there that actually, would dance, but they actually had a peg leg because they were dressed up like a pirate. So I thought it was hilarious. And you have to have fun with your life. You have to enjoy you. And this, having an artificial leg is part of me. And you have to have fun with that. You have to embrace it. It's part of who you are, and I've never let it hold me back. It's only made me stronger. It's made me a better person. It's made me more aware of other people and their issues.
There's a huge amount of motivation there.
Yes.
Because people that are overcoming seem to just continually energize other people. That are there.
Yes.
And everybody's saying, look, I'm conquering. Are you conquering? Yeah, I'm conquering. Are you conquering? I mean, what are you going to talk about? Well, I work. Yeah, you work? Yeah, I work. Okay, well, I got a job. Okay, great. Everything that you could ever do, you could do.
Yes. And like I said, I mean, it's funny because there are times that I'm tired and my leg hurts, and because it's sore, or I've walked too much that day, or I've done too much and that type of thing, or I might have a blister or whatever. But when you meet other people that are bilateral amputees that have both of their legs off, or they, where I still have my knee, other people don't have their knee, and of course that's a more difficult scenario, but it's still possible. But it does put it in perspective and makes me shut up and quit whining about my piddly little self sometimes, because I know somebody else has always got it a little bit harder. But even those people are out succeeding, and they're doing that. They're in the Olympics, they're running, they're jumping, they're doing everything that they can do, because they don't want life to go by and them not be a part of it. And that's the biggest thing, is making sure that you are a part of it and you're an active part of it. not just a standby looking off in the sidelines.
There you go.
You need to be in the running, experiencing it, and doing what you want to do.
Yes.
And going to an amputee convention or getting help or talking or just going somewhere and actually watching somebody else or talking to somebody else, even in a quiet setting, can change, I think, the way you perceive things, and it can show you that nothing can hold you back except yourself. So it was, it was an exciting experience to go to that. Yes, definitely.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Karen. All right, folks, here we go again. Which one is real? Pretty hard to tell there. Yep, this is Karen's artificial limb. And
One of them.
yeah, folks. And it's a prosthesis.
Yes.
Not a prosthesis, it's a prosthesis. All right, we'll get there. But anyway, folks, you need to call the counselor if you're need help. If you need help from us, we're here. We're all here for you. So, we'll talk later. Now, Karen, earlier you were talking to me about being sensitive. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people wonder about the phantom limb experience. Mm-hmm. Now, this happened to you when you were 5 years old.
Correct.
And you still have phantom limb experiences?
Yes.
Which means that the energy body still perpetuates as long as it's tied to the energy body, I guess.
Correct.
I mean, in the Bible it
You
talks
still have
about...
nerve sensors, though. I mean, there's times that I don't have pain, like really bad pains, and I've heard other people really do. Mine are not like that. I might have an occasion where my toe itches, and I don't technically have toes anymore. But the odd thing is that sometimes I can scratch my foot in that area and it'll stop itching. And so it's just an odd thing. You occasionally have pains, shooting pains in a part of my leg that's no longer there, that type of thing. So I don't really have bad issues with it. But yeah, it's still there.
Interdimensional.
Yeah. Yes.
It's an interdimensional experience
Yes.
that really does occur.
Yes.
It's not an illusion, it really does occur.
Yes.
You're completely assimilating and attenuating these experiences into your awareness.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's so wild. Well, I wanted verification about it because we hear about it. And that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
911, what's your emergency?
Power lawnmowers are dangerous adult tools, not toys. But every year, 200,000 people are seriously injured in lawnmower accidents, 16,000 of them children. Injuries include severed fingers, toes, and limbs, broken bones, burns, and eye injuries, and all are preventable by following some simple safety tips. Make sure children are in the house. Pick up stones and toys to prevent flying objects. Don't allow children under 16 to operate ride-on mowers or children under 12 to use any mower. Don't allow children to be passengers on mowers. Never mow barefooted or in sandals. Always wear sturdy shoes. Don't drive backward unless absolutely necessary. And then make sure you look over your shoulder. A lawnmower is not a toy. A serious injury can happen in a matter of seconds. Don't let someone you love become a statistic. Use common sense this summer. For more safety tips, visit plasticsurgery.org, microsurge.org, or maxface.org.
About you. There's your seat over there.
Right there.
We're going to do the interview.
Okay.
Why don't you do this for me, though? First thing I want you to do is kind of walk around in a circle over there so people get an idea how, you're able to basically go as far into the corner as you can. So just do some things that, jumps, flips, whatever you would do. I mean, if normal people, whatever, you run, right? How many miles did you run?
I run about 3 to 5 miles
3 to 5 miles a day?
a day.
Yeah, I don't know too many people that run 3 to 5 miles a day.
No.
You know what I mean? It's like everybody takes everything for granted, it seems like. I don't know what it is with humanity that they think like, oh yeah, well, that takes motivation. You got all the motivation that you need, right?
Right.
Yeah, see? So anyway, just do some turns or something and show people that it's no big deal. You get through, right?
Right.
Okay, all right.
Just walk.
You just walk regular, just walk. See? You can't even tell, honestly. There's no way to tell. Just a normal cadence, it's a normal path, it's a normal, So when you folks are, out there in public and you're seeing folks, just realize, hey, it's normal. It's okay. It's all right. So I'm now doing an interview with Kelley Martin. Say hi to everybody in TV land out there, Kelley.
Hi, TV Land.
We were going to go into a couple aspects of your life right now. First, we'd like to hear about what occurred in your life to put you into the category of limb loss. And basically describe all the events that occurred in great detail, please.
When I was about 5 years old, it was in October, and I was mowing the lawn with my father, and he had one too many beers, and we had hit a rock while mowing the lawn, and it juggled the lawnmower, and I fell off, and my foot slid underneath, and so it cut off my heel portion of my foot, not the whole foot, but just the heel. And my mom was about 6 months pregnant at this time, so my dad, he picked me up, and he was in the Navy, so he took a couple of towels and he wrapped up my foot to stop the bleeding, and they rushed me to Brandon General Hospital, and from there I was airlifted to Tampa General, and that's where I am today.
Okay, so you've had prosthetics or prosthetic limb since you were 5?
Yes.
So you've had to graduate into different sizes, and it kind of goes as you grow, right?
Right. I get a new foot probably about maybe every 1.5 to 2 years. So very often. Okay.
Now, you haven't really had the emotional stress and strain that a lot of people would have if they'd lived, let's say, 20, 30 years of their life and then found themselves missing a limb. You were very young, so you really adjusted to it well, didn't you?
Right. I just picked up like any other kid would and kept going, and I've pretty much known it my whole life, so it wasn't, nothing big has come of it, and I've just pretty much just been living my life.
Now, the purpose of this show is to encourage people that are going through troubles and hard times. And a lot of people complain about stuff and they have no idea what they're talking about. So in your particular case, you had to do a test for the police department, which was how many miles?
It was about a 1.5 mile run in 15 minutes.
Okay. And you're right now going through schooling for that?
Yes, sir. I'm going through my criminal justice degree at Hillsborough Community College.
Wonderful. And in one portion of this show, I'm going to be talking to people about the most comical thing that ever happened with someone talking to you. Have you had anybody ever say anything to you that you thought was pretty funny? I mean, in a little child or somebody asking a question?
There have been a few times, more often than not, where little kids will say, "Oh, that's the American flag," because I have the American flag on my leg. And so then the parents just, kind of, "Yeah, that's it. And the kids will ask, "Well, why is it on his leg?" And they'll say, "I don't know." And so then I'll overhear them talking, and I'll just be kind of like, things happen in life, and that's why I have this. So.
Oh, okay. Have you had any real funny ones that have occurred?
There was one time in Chili's, I had taken my leg off and left it in the middle of the walkway. It was around Halloween time, so I had taken some ketchup and a napkin and made it look kind of nasty. And and I spooked some Chili's employees, so that was a good time.
Okay, I'm glad to see you got a sense of humor. If you can't laugh at life, there's really not much life there, because we're all here on Earth, and then we're all trying to sort of convince each other to take it very seriously.
Right.
But we're only here for a short time. And I think what you have inspired me and others inspire me is to take advantage of the moments of time that we do have, because we don't know how much time we're going to have.
Right. That's exactly what my mom says to me, so I take every life by take hold of every moment of life and live it to the fullest.
It sounds like it. And now, there are going to be people watching this show in many age groups. And what I'd like you to do is to encourage them, in your own way, on how to deal with things and how to move on and keep moving and keep going in life. So just like you're talking to me, if I was the audience, what would you tell me about the things that you've learned about overcoming and to be enduring? What have you learned?
I've really put my faith into God and knowing that, we don't just, once this life is over, it's over. We go on, and our spirits live on in others and people that we touch in our lives. And that's kind of why I want to become a law enforcement officer, is so that I can touch so many others' lives and leave my mark on this world in a positive way. And so that's just kind of what keeps me going, is knowing that, I'm going to live on through people's thoughts and their emotions in life.
And when we look at obstacles and people say, oh, that's a little incident, in truth and reality, almost everything is, when you compare it to big incidents. I mean,
right.
There are a lot of people that are really going through some major situations. Mm-hmm. And I know myself, I'm very thankful, and I'm sure you are, because you've probably seen a lot. You've probably seen a lot of others that have really hurt and had major problems. And it does give you a compassionate heart for others when you've gone through stuff. You were talking about a lawnmower. Well, I had a lawn mowing business, and the blade at the bottom was loose, so I stuck my finger underneath there to lift it up. Well, guess what? It cut the end of my finger off. Not a good idea around lawnmowers. Motorcycle wrecks. I've had, some times when I couldn't walk. I've had a lot of experiences. I can't identify quite as much with you as I'd like, but as far as I can see, I do have some experiences that let me understand when you can't get out of bed because the pain's too much or you can't move. So really, everybody out there that's got friends and neighbors that are going through this situation, please tell them about this program. Tell them to watch this program. And we'll be here. We'll let you, we're going to try to provide information for people. Now, let me kind of talk to you a little bit about the prosthetic.
Okay.
Now, how is that manufactured and how is that shaped for you?
When I go to get a new prosthetic made, they take it just like if you had broken your arm or your leg before, and they take a cast of it, and then they take that and then they carbon fiber it or fiberglass it, and then we do a few more fittings and they burn it into place pretty much, and then at the final stage they'll screw on a foot at the bottom for me, and then I'll walk around with it, and if everything's good then it goes to be finished with either fake skin put on it or a custom design that I wanted, like the American flag, and then after that I get the foot and I just
keep running.
It takes about a month for me to get it done.
Wow. Wow. And I understand you have a pretty talented sculptor that does the sculpting for you.
I do.
That's Mr. Copeland, right?
Yes.
He does a good job, doesn't he?
He does an awesome job every time.
That's wonderful. And I'm very happy and very humbled to be a part of this particular program because I see it as a way to encourage everybody out there that they need to get a life. They need to, learn to get on board and not whine about things that are going on. I mean, you've had obstacles in here. You are conquering those. So in the process of it, you're going to be helping a lot of people. You're going to be helping a lot of people that are going through things, and you're going to be able to say, well, okay, yeah. So now what? You mean, oh, you've had a problem? Oh, okay. Yeah, I hear you. Now what? Now what are you going to do? Is this it? Is that it?
Yep.
Is that your best punch? Huh? Is that all you got? Come on now. So, I am dwarfed by you guys. Honestly, I feel it's amazing. You know, I've gained so much in this journey, in this process of putting the show together that I've never ever dreamt it would be as an incredible experience for me. Mm-hmm. So what is it that drives you? What is it that keeps you going?
My family, really. It's just waking up every day and having them there and seeing their smiles. My little brother and little sister, you know, they just ask me to keep doing things. You know, Bubba, I need this. Bubba, I need that. And you know, I keep going to inspire them because I'm the oldest out of the three of us. So I have to succeed to show them that it's possible to succeed.
Yeah, so there's this, you know, love has no limitations.
Right.
And it's not bound by our physical limitations either, or any of our, you know, activities. So you can do anything you want. You can go anywhere you want. You can achieve any goal you want. I just want people to get a hold of this because I've seen people in wheelchairs that could walk that just want to sit and have a pity party and won't do anything. And that's frustrating to me. You know, it is. It's very frustrating. And what would you say to them?
I would say you have to take the first step. You have to get out of there, and you know, life isn't going to just babysit you. You have to take life by the horns and get on that 8-second ride. So,
what is an 8-second ride?
It's a bull ride.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, I could see you doing that too.
Oh no.
Well, okay. Yeah, and I understand that, like you said, you know, God helps those who help themselves is really kind of a true statement. It's in the book of Galatians. It says that, you know, everybody must do it themselves in a sense. We have to be responsible for our own activities and our own destiny because we pretty much carve that out. We pretty much create that. And, you know, getting past obstacles is what life is all about. If you don't get through it, you'll never get through it. If you don't decide to get through it, you'll never get through it. So, you know, thank you so much for coming in here, showing us that there is an opportunity for others to be able to get around, run around, and have productive lives. And I know you're going to do very well as a police officer.
Thank you.
I know you've got the right attitude, and that you're an overcomer, and you will be successful at whatever endeavor you want to partake in. So this is our little interview here, and I appreciate your time for coming in here. This 17-year-old young man who has a bright, bright future has been our guest today. Thank you so much, Kelley.
Thank you.
So Kelley, you were telling me that when you were training at the academy, there was a special move you had to make regarding if someone was trying to attack you or something, about moving your leg into a certain position?
Right. We were training to diversive tactics to where if someone was trying to attack us by our lower part of our body, we could sideswipe them to get away. And so what ended up happening was I didn't sideswipe, and the guy came after me and he hit his head on my leg. So he actually injured himself in the process of trying to injure me.
So if someone were trying to attack you, you can say, go ahead, knock yourself out. You can kick my leg as hard as you want. You're gonna break your toes.
Yep.
So you're kind of like Superman in a way, aren't you?
I like to think so.
All right, thanks.
Trying to take away pain, filling the emptiness in so many ways, going in circles, not leaving a trace. serve and the people we face. And I want to believe there is more than what meets the eye. And I want to believe in life. And when I see a baby smile, I know there's a reason to be alive. I keep going, plugging away, not giving up. I'm gonna stay. There will be trouble, they come every day. But hope is my focus, love is the way. And I want to believe there is more than what meets the eye. And I want to believe in life. 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 Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.